The age-old question. Has Mr. Bugman seen you in your underwear? This is The Gals of Geekdom.
This is Aaron from the Gals of Geekdom, and this is issue 6. I'm here with my lovely co-host Eva and Crystal.
Hello. It's great to be back.
It really is.
On this very special, very festive, spooky Halloween episode. So, Halloween's still happening, even if it's just 2020. And I know 2020 is scary enough.
Hey, they're still trick-or-treating in my city.
The calendar still works.
They just said to be, quote-unquote, careful. Whatever that's supposed to mean. Like, hey, you can go trick-or-treating, you know, there's a pandemic, there's a deadly disease that's killing hundreds of thousands of people, but, you know, send your kids out there. Just be careful. Just be careful, you know. We can't, God forbid we take trick-or-treating from the children. God forbid they go without candy for 1 year, which will probably be beneficial to them because most candy gives dental problems, and I know a thing or two about dental problems, ladies and gentlemen.
Me too.
They suck. Don't give candy to kids. Especially, kids are immature, you know, sometimes they don't brush their teeth, you know, they could go days without brushing their teeth. They're kids, you know?
So you heard it here first. Aaron approves of stealing candy from babies.
Really, what I took it was more of a tooth and dental hygiene PSA, which was pretty awesome anyway.
I'm just kidding.
I have to go to the dentist.
Kidding.
I have to go to the dentist in a week or two. To have something done. I don't know if you guys. I was talking about it on Twitter, but I got to get a tooth removed and then an implant put in. So you know that just I encourage kids to, you know, take care of their teeth because, you know, they're gonna later on in life it'll come back and get you.
That's
true. You could be plowing your girlfriend, you know, your high-rise suite, and all of a sudden, boom, toothache ruins your day.
Oh, every time.
So brush your teeth, floss as often as possible, and you also have to wash your hands and wear a mask. Those are important things the Gals of Geekdom podcast fully endorse.
And then when you're banging your girlfriend in an office tower, you won't have to worry about, you know, toothaches or getting sick, so you're all set.
You're reminding me of a really funny joke from the classic film Mallrats. You know, he slept with her in an uncomfortable place. Remember that?
No, I don't. Oh, I haven't seen Mallrats in forever.
It was a long running joke they had about. It was an anal sex joke.
Nice.
The only thing I remember from that movie, your friend has a weird fascination with superhero genitalia.
Yeah, Stanley.
Oh, that was great.
I like Jason Lee, so that's one of my favorite movies because Jason Lee is a phenomenal actor. I don't know, I was a big My Name is Earl fan.
Oh, he's great.
That was a really wholesome show. That was a really wholesome show, and I really like Jason Lee. Whatever. Fucking cut it out if you don't like it.
I like him. He's a cool dude. He just doesn't do anything outside of, I don't know, appear in Kevin Smith's latest movie.
He skateboards.
He still skateboards, which he showed up in a Tony Hawk game. Yeah. He was in a Tony Hawk game.
That's cool. That's cool.
Pretty much everybody shows up in Kevin Smith movies, though. It's the weirdest thing.
I'm surprised that I have.
You need to be in his next one.
You know
he should be a guest on our show.
You know what, guys?
If he's listening, I would love to have Kevin Smith come on our show and just nerd out with him.
You know what though? I had this really serious thought. I could probably get Lloyd Kaufman to come on this show because Lloyd really likes me, and yeah, he really likes me. So like,
Lloyd, if you're listening,
we love you. I want to be in a Trauma movie. I don't even care if I'm just a background character. Just put me in a goddamn Trauma movie. Let's remake Trauma's War, okay? Me and you, Lloyd. We'll remake Trauma's War. One of my favorite Lloyd Kaufman movies. We'll remake it together.
That's still on my list. I haven't seen that one.
Oh, it's great.
I want to, if they do a reboot of like Sergeant Kabuki Man LAPD, I want to be the girlfriend.
I will put you in my movie as a background character, Eva.
Well, they could always do a sequel.
Fine.
But you can be any background character you want, okay?
Okay, fine. That would work.
Yeah, the Toxic Avenger has always been my favorite trauma film. Like, by far the first
love
one.
Toxie. Toxie is the best.
So good.
I mean, it's so... Juliet.
That's on my list.
That was the movie that sparked my fascination with bad movies.
That was
I just became addicted to them.
That was I believe Romeo and Juliet was a James Gunn movie.
Yes, it was.
James Gunn is from Tromaville. Yeah.
He wrote it. He wrote the movie. I don't think he directed it. I think Lloyd directed it, right?
I'd have to fact check that, but
I can fact check that.
I could ask Lloyd, but I don't think he would respond in time.
No, we have IMDb.
My favorite trauma movie is the one I can't remember the name of, but you would know. And it was the one where aliens come down and hoodwink a bunch of evangelical Christians into trying to take over the world.
I don't.
Do you remember that one?
No, I don't.
And there's an alien robot girl from space who's like super hot, and she gets into a relationship with this guy who ends up fighting the robots or the aliens rather, and it was fun. I'll have to look it up.
Yeah, definitely.
I think that's what makes trauma.
Hey guys,
I think that's what makes trauma. What's that?
I'm pretty sure Lloyd has retweeted our podcast before, actually.
Oh, hey, that's good news.
Lloyd, if you're listening, man.
What was that?
That's really better if you could see your facial expression there. You know.
Fact check on that. Lloyd directed Romeo and Juliet, while James Gunn wrote the screenplay with Lloyd.
Oh, okay. Yeah. Anything. Yo, I'd love to do anything with Lloyd. Like, just anything. What a great guy.
He's a cool guy. Met him a few times at different cons. He's always been nice to me. So.
I like watching his clarinet videos on Twitter lately.
Oh, nice.
He's been posting like videos. So he's like, I haven't played clarinet in 70 years. And, like he's like
really?
playing like this like what is it, like hot potato or whatever on the clarinet.
Wow. Okay, so the movie I was thinking of was Invasion of the Space Creatures.
Never heard of that one.
Oh, okay. It was good.
That's cool. I love the B movies, and I think what makes Trauma unique is that they have such a interesting sense of humor. Like they know what they're making, and they don't try to do anything else other than that.
Okay, so change the topic. How is everybody doing? I want to get off this Lloyd Kaufman thing. Lloyd, I love you. I want to get off you, though, okay? How's everybody been doing?
I'm doing really well.
First, Crystal go second, me go last.
Sweet. I'm doing really well. Okay, so my quest to collect all the original Thunder Agents comics every time they've ever appeared and been printed, it's going really well. Oh, also, I ordered a copy of Squirrel Girl Beats Up the Marvel Universe on eBay from the Minneapolis Goodwill, in case you're wondering. So I ordered it, and I get it. It came in like just the other day, and it's signed by Erica Henderson. I paid like $4 for it, so got a super good deal. Totally thrilled and excited.
That's awesome. That sounds really cool. Like to find a lucky signed copy. That's like that's a diamond in the rough sort of thing.
Oh, not only that, but it's a first printing from 2017.
Oh, that's even better. Man, that's cool.
Yeah, it's pretty cool. I agree.
It was really neat. So that's the head of my week, really.
That's awesome. That sounds like a good week. Okay, so I guess in terms of how I'm doing, things are going okay. I'm mostly just trying to stay alive in this crazy world of 2020. Try not to go crazy. I'm also trying to enjoy Halloween spooks as often as I can. So I've been playing nothing but horror video games and watching horror movies and horror television shows and trying to find enjoyment in those things. So yeah, there's a lot of really cool content out there, especially now with all the streaming services. There's a lot of like really cool like back catalog and new television shows that are super scary and super fun. So that's, that always tickles me because I like to be spooked during the season. Yeah. Other than that, my life is it's fine. It's pretty much the Dog in the Flames comic. This is fine, but I make it work.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. It's just existence. Existence is pain. Aaron, how are you?
Hey, I'm actually I just had the worst 2 weeks that I've ever had in my life, but we're not going to talk about that. We are going to talk about what I've been doing. I went to the comic book store this week on Wednesday to pick up my new comic books, and I ended up scoring X-Men Red, the whole entire run, all variant issues for like $20. That was
nice.
That was a pretty good day in terms of comic books.
Amazing.
Other than that, I've been watching every horror movie that I could get my hands on. Like always, I have a subscription to Shudder, and I have like all the horror movies you could ever want. A noteworthy one that I've watched recently was George Romero's The Crazies.
The original.
The original Crazies. I had never seen it, and I haven't even seen the remake, to be honest. I'm a big Romero fan. I've been watching a lot of Romero movies, Night of the Living Dead, Season of the Witch, and so I was just like, why not watch The Crazies? And I do think that it's one of my favorite movies now. It was a pretty awesome movie.
That's dope.
I don't want to spoil too much of it, but can I talk about it a little bit?
Talk about it as much as you want.
Okay.
Please do.
Let me get my notes up here. Yeah, you can cut this out if you want. Okay, so The Crazies is pretty much this plane, like this government plane crashes and releases like a chemical into the air, or it's the water, I believe. Yeah, they state it's the water. The chemical's name is Trixie, and what it does is it just starts slowly infecting people like all over town, and what happens is they go crazy. Some people are like really, really violent. Some people are just like wandering around like la 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 la, just like. Mm-hmm. I guess inherently, if you're not a violent person, it won't make you go crazy in like a violent sense, is what they were trying to get at. But if you're like naturally a violent person, it just takes away those restraints like in your mind that make you say no. So what they do is they try to quarantine the whole town, and just madness ensues because crazy rednecks with guns,
Yeah.
It's a really good watch. I wanted to just explain like a little synopsis without really revealing too much of it. It's definitely one of Romero's best films in my personal opinion.
I do need to go back and see that one because I actually did see the remake from a few years ago. Probably because I didn't know that there was an original at that time, but the remake wasn't bad from everything that I remember and gathered. However, I do remember feeling like it was a little bit different from that one, and that the people were more like zombies in a sense, but they still had obvious, you're saying that they're sick and crazy, but I remember them having higher motor function to be able to like use weapons and stuff. I just remember it being more like a zombie movie.
It makes people do I guess crazy things. I mean, the rednecks would shoot back at like the quarantine guys, but I'm not sure if that was because of the like disease or because of the government trying to get you out of your house and like quarantine you in a place. It's very like there's a character in the movie that you can't really tell. He's a Vietnam veteran, and you can't really tell if he's infected or he just has like PTSD.
Yeah.
It's like it's really hard to tell, like if people are infected or they're just like,
they're already.
Yeah, like that's just already like their natural behavior in things. It's a really good watch. It was actually filmed here in Evans City in Pennsylvania.
That's cool.
In 1972. Yeah.
Wow, all the way back in the good old Nixon days.
Nixon? No, 1973 was who was president in 1973?
You said the 72. Was Nixon still in charge by then, right?
Nixon, I don't even know.
Was it Ford? I don't know. It's before I was born.
It was produced in 72 and like released in 73.
Okay. Well, I think it was in the early 70s that he was still president.
I don't
even know. Because LBJ took over for
JFK.
JFK, obviously. He ended his presidency in 74.
That's a little later than I would have guessed.
Yeah, so he would have been in office at that point. 69 to 74.
Okay, that'll work out nicely then.
So, I was right. Hey, we hit politics in our movie episode.
Let's not hit politics. Do you guys have any movie, like, horror type movies? I mean, I guess my movie wasn't horror, but it was like made by a great horror movie director.
Yeah. So, well, that sounds like it still classifies for horror,
Yes and no. It's a different genre of horror. It's more like a psychological horror.
Yeah, the spooky kind.
Instead of the spooky kind.
The mind spooky kind.
I've also, to change things up a little bit, I watched and finished The Haunting of Bly Manor.
I am currently on episode 2 of that show.
What do you think of it so far? Like, you're pretty early in, but
I like it.
It starts really slow.
It's slow, but I like that it's building the characters. I think that's what I really liked it about season 1. Or I shouldn't say season 1. I should say Hill House, because it's almost like it's an entirely different thing, but it's not. So, I like that it feels like a drama where the scary stuff is kind of like, it's important, but it's not like your focus is on the characters as opposed to like necessarily being like how much gore or how much like creatures or ghosts or whatever can we get away with. If that makes sense.
It keeps you guessing, like, how does this character play into everything? You know what I mean?
Right.
Like, it makes you want to keep watching because you want to see what happens to these characters that they set up so beautifully. I know a lot of people are saying, like, it's too slow, blah, 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 this, blah, 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 that. People get angry at everything, but I think that slow start and the heavy finish is a great payoff.
Oh, yeah. I think that can work for the best. Like, I feel like films that really do take advantage and build characters and stuff can genuinely make some of the most fascinating examples of horror. I mean, we all love B-movies and schlock and movies with lots of monsters and gore too, but I also really like these slow, methodical sort of building.
It has a real element to it.
Yeah, and real emotions behind it too.
Like, you can empathize with somebody that just lost somebody close to them in their life, and that's like a real life horror, and like it's not like monsters or spooky ghosts, it's like trauma, like real life trauma. Like nobody wants to get a phone call that their loved one just died. You know what I mean?
Oh yeah, everyone can relate to that. I mean, everyone has that fear of losing the people that we care about. It
I don't know, Bly Manor got me on like a primal level.
Yeah, it sounds like it was much more emotional.
Emotions. Yeah, so many emotions. You need to finish it so we can talk about it.
I will. It's just going to take me a little bit more time because I'm juggling like 4 or 5 shows at once, and I don't have as much time to go through. So, but I will get it done, and then I will message you, and I'll be like, "Hey, I finally finished Bly Manor, and it was everything you said it was." Because I'm sure I'm going to agree with you like 110%.
It turns really gay.
That's nice.
Yeah, it's always nice to hear.
Have you seen Did you see The Invisible Man from this year? Yeah. Okay. If you like Bly Manor and you like Hill House, I think you're really gonna like The Invisible Man because it's a brilliant movie that takes on the approaches of what you're saying. It's emotional, but it's also scary because it cares so much about its characters and building off of reality. Like there's so many women I know, that or you've maybe either of you have experienced or whatever that have been through abuse, and I feel like the movie handles it very well. It makes it scary and visceral and interesting,
I'm gonna add that to my list of things to watch, but I'm not gonna watch it right away because Hill House kind of drained me emotionally.
Right,
I sat down and I was crying for like 2 hours. You know what I mean? Like I had to go outside and like I was crying out on my porch, and people were walking by me like, "What's wrong with this girl? She's just like out here crying like an idiot." But like it really got me on like a real primal level. Like, and I feel the same way with the first anthology, Hill House. It like I had to take some time off. I had to step back and reflect.
Yeah, that's understandable. So I'm not gonna force anybody who maybe doesn't want to feel those exact emotions to go through that one again. But I just like to give it a recommendation because I thought it was kind of brilliant. Yeah. I just want to put it out there because
I'll definitely watch it when I'm open.
I'll just say it won't make you cry. It's a movie that's going to keep you on the edge of your seat, though.
Don't say that. Everything makes me cry.
Okay. All right. Well,
So
I literally sit and cry when I'm reading comics sometimes.
Okay. Well,
what was the comic? The finale of the Harley Quinn. Sam Humphrey's Harley Quinn finale of the ongoing series this year. I literally sat down. I was crying for like a half an hour. I even messaged him. I was like, "God damn you for making me cry so much."
Yeah, we were talking about that. Hey, I got a question for both of you. So like speaking of things we've already talked about this week, you are both pretty much serious experts when it comes to horror movies, horror films, campy horror, just all of it. You guys know way more than I do. So my question is, where do you start if you're not like a horror expert that's as versed as either of you? Where do you go? What's the first thing you pick up?
Okay, I'm gonna recommend. I'm gonna pull it up here too, so I can like get the full recommendation. Do you have Amazon by chance? Do you have like Amazon Prime or anything, Eva?
I definitely do. I have Amazon Prime. I have Netflix. I have CBS All Access.
Okay, so you can subscribe to you can subscribe to Shudder through Amazon, and there's a show on Amazon. It's like a hosted show. There's a host, and it's reminiscent of like the old like horror movie hosts. They would be like, instead of a commercial break, it will cut to this person, and they would sit down and talk to you about what you just saw and like give you trivia and stuff like that.
I love it.
So there's a show on Shudder called Joe Bob's Last Drive-In, and he goes through like really cheesy old like schlock B movie horror. It's all horror, and he hosts it. Sometimes they play the good horror, sometimes it's like B movies. But they have everything on there. And I'd usually recommend Joe Bob if you're not like new to horror and you want to get into it. It's a good introduction because he explains everything that you're seeing, and it's just full of trivia. You know what I mean?
That sounds like fun. What's it called
again?
Joe Bob's Last Drive-In.
Nice.
Joe Bob was a host on TNT in the early 90s. His character. So Shudder decided to bring him back to host again, which is I think is cool. I also there it is. I see people in the podcast. You won't be able to see this, but Aaron is showing off. The Shudder and the drive-in stuff on the screen right now. So, and yes, if you have, you can either pay obviously through the like individually, or you can add it as an addition to your Amazon Prime account. So those are really cool things. And Shudder has so many cool horror movies to watch. There's a lot of good stuff. I mean, there's a lot of like B movies and like crazy stuff too, but it's just kind of like a good mix. And yeah, Aaron, do you have any other more recommendations for Eva or?
Honestly, I think that's the best if you want to get into like horror movies and you don't
Yeah.
know where to start. I think Joe Bob is the best because he'll hit every genre in like a season. Usually when Joe Bob premieres, it's like a 6 hour thing. Okay, like when he premieres, it's every Friday night, and he does like a double feature. Like as it premieres, it's like you watch it in a double feature. But obviously, you can watch it like whenever you want. Um, but when it's like coming out week to week, it's so amazing to just sit down and be like, okay, double feature tonight of like shitty horror movies, you know? It's pretty cool.
That's awesome. I need to check that out myself when I get Shudder again. I had to let go of Shudder because you know, subscription services can be expensive, so some things have to go by the wayside. But I loved having Shudder.
Shit.
How
I
much
took
is
As
that
it?
for
I got rid of Netflix before I get rid of Shudder.
oh, yeah, I watch so much Netflix, so it's not a that won't be a easy one
Netflix
for
is
me. But
just stale. It's so
it all
stale.
depends on what you're looking for. You know what I mean? Like I like all their shows and stuff. So, but back onto the horror conversation. I have a question for Eva. In terms of recommendations, I guess a good thing to ask you is what type of horror or genre or thing would you be looking for if you want to start jumping back into horror? Like, is there any particular thing that makes you the most excited? Or
Oh, no, I don't think there's anything that really makes me more or less excited. I
okay,
kind of like things with sci-fi elements, but that's
hmm
just me. And
okay, sci-fi you like a lot?
sorry, I was distracted by Aaron there for a second.
No, it's okay. Okay.
Um, I like things that are not grounded or down to earth, sort of that are a little out there. I think lately in my entertainment, I'm skewing more towards bonkers and weird and offbeat, than I am, in the traditional stuff.
Then I have some fun recommendations for you.
Go
Uh,
for it.
okay, so this is a classic, and if you want sci-fi, even though it's a little bit serious and slightly down to earth, but it's got such big sci-fi elements. I don't know if you've seen it. I would hope so. Did you see John Carpenter's The Thing?
A very, very long time ago.
Okay,
Not
I'd recommend
recently.
going back to it. It's brilliant. It's a masterpiece. That's
Nice.
one of my favorite horror movies ever. It's scary and it's got sci-fi elements and it's just filled with gore and it's kind of breathtaking in its way. And I know you ladies like some handsome men, and it has Kurt Russell
Oh,
in the
yes.
lead when he was young and has a giant beard and he looks like this like like actual Alaskan explorer, but just kind of like movie started up, he's got that traditional looks, but you know, that's a good one. And if you want bonkers and off the wall, Aaron knows this well. I'm gonna recommend this because I always do. You got to watch Evil Dead if you haven't. I mean, Evil Dead 2, specifically bonkers off the wall, crazy.
I wouldn't start with Evil Dead because, it does the first movie does have a scene of a plant or a tree sexually assaulting the main character's sister.
Yes, it does.
So, and it's a very long scene. Like it goes on far too long, and I remember the first time I watched it, I felt really uncomfortable with that, and I still do when I watch it. I'm just like, why does this exist in this movie? So
Wow.
if I were
Yeah.
you, I would just skip the first movie altogether. I mean, Bruce Campbell, he has a unibrow in it. He's like really young. He doesn't even look that good. Like in
So,
Evil Dead 2, he looks, Bruce Campbell looks like Bruce Campbell.
like I said, you can totally skip the first Evil Dead and watch Evil Dead 2 because for Evil Dead 2 summarizes the event of Evil Dead 1 in the first 5 to 7 minutes, and then it just goes off from there. So
Yeah,
it's kind
it
of
exposition dumps you pretty quick.
and you don't need too
Well,
much exposition. It's not too hard of a story to follow, So
And then if you like it, you can watch the third movie when he gets sucked into like a time vortex and goes back to like the medieval ages.
Yes, Army of Darkness.
And then there's a whole TV show with 3 seasons.
Ash vs. Evil Dead. So if you want crazy stuff, Evil Dead 2 and on is pretty much where it blends in the comedy with the horror and does a good job with it. I feel like Army of Darkness, I love Army of Darkness, but I would say that Evil Dead 2 and Ash vs. Evil Dead are more rooted in its horror, more so, while Army of Darkness feels a bit more actiony, you know?
I have another recommendation for people.
Yes.
First of all, shout out to Blackfly Press, a good friend of mine on Twitter. They were talking to me the other day about the Leprechaun movies. And after about Leprechaun 3, they get pretty goddamn wacky. They get really, really wacky. And if you're looking for that wacky, like, okay, this is horror based, but it's so bad that it's funny. Leprechaun in Space, Leprechaun in the Hood, Leprechaun Back to the Hood are all great movies.
I heard they're fun. I have not seen them myself.
Warwick Davis's performance in them is just awesome. Like, he was made to play that character.
Oh, I've seen so many clips, and it just looks like it's a character he owns and he loves every second of, which is awesome for any actor. You know what I mean? It's like watching Robert Englund play Freddy Krueger. You know, you can tell that the actor just kind of embodies that character and just has so much fun under the makeup or costumes or whatever they're put under, you know? I love that.
Always good. Always a good recommendation. I mean, you can go back and watch the first two. The first one is really serious. It has like a really serious tone. It's Jennifer Aniston's first appearance in any movie. So she's like really young, and that's why that one was popular. The second one, it's still kind of takes itself a little bit seriously, but it becomes a little more comedic. And the third one is like half and half, but by the time they get to Leprechaun in Space, it jumps the shark completely.
Leprechaun in Space sounds right about my speed, actually. That would be great.
I think that's a good choice. More fun, zany horror movie series that I also like that I put kind of next to Leprechaun. I like the Tremors movies.
Kevin Bacon.
I love Tremors. I think that movie is so much fun. And I think that's actually a really good starter horror movie because it's rated PG-13 for one. So it's not excessively gory and excessively over the top in that regard. I mean, if gore isn't your thing. But it also got some cool like little scares, but a lot of fun comedy and a lot of interesting characters. And the follow-up sequels are all pretty fun. The only one I'm not as fond of is the fourth film, which is a prequel where they set it in like the Wild West. That has some interesting ideas, but since it's so low budget, you can just kind of tell that they were a little bit more restricted with what they could pull off. If you want to see a fun movie series that kind of is similar, I feel like Tremors is a pretty similar sort of thing to Leprechaun. Maybe a little less raunchy or gruesome or whatever. A little bit more of a good introduction, I would say. Like I was actually thinking about asking this before the show even started. So, is there a movie, a comic, or a show, or a video game, or any piece of scary entertainment that when you think of Halloween, your mind goes to that? Like, what is like the quintessential sort of Halloween piece of entertainment that gets you either in the mood or you just love going back to or anything?
Nightmare Before Christmas. No doubt about it.
Nightmare Before Christmas. Great choice.
Every time.
I don't blame you. The brilliant music from Danny Elfman, the incredible stop motion animation, which was revolutionary for its time. That movie's a masterpiece in more ways than one.
Oh, it's just so fantastic, and you never get tired of it. You know, it's just one of those movies that never gets old, no matter how many times you see it.
Oh, for sure. I was alone at work this week, and like suddenly I thought about the movie because someone else was talking about it, and then to myself I started quietly singing. I think the song was called Jack's Lament.
Nice.
I was singing that to myself because it's like the music is so good, and Danny Elfman's singing voice for Jack is so good, and I love hearing him sing it. So I don't know, I just love that movie. It's a really good choice, Eva. Yeah.
How about
Aaron,
you,
do you have?
What's your pick?
I was just gonna say Halloween.
Oh, the original Halloween, right?
My mom showed me Halloween when I was like 4 or 5, and it's just kind of stuck with me.
That's cool. That's a classic. It's good. It's spooky. It's very much created its own genre. Slasher movies.
I mean, Halloween was kind of the one that kind of defined the tropes in the genre. You know, it was
Right.
like an amalgamation. Like it was like just everything came together, like all elements of the slasher movie, and then people just took example from that movie onward, and it made a genre. But there were like earlier like slasher movies.
No, you're right. I didn't fully explain that.
I would say Sweet Alice is a really good movie.
I'll have to see some of those classic ones.
That's a good psychological thriller. I mean, I can talk about it for a minute if you want.
Sure.
So it starts off with this family. Well, I don't think family. I think it's just a mom and her 2 daughters. And they're going to their daughter's first communion. One of the daughter is having her first communion, and one's not because she's bad. And well, as they're like back there getting dressed, somebody takes the little girl and like conks her over the head and like drags her dead body into like one of the pews and then like sets it on fire.
Oh, jeez.
Like first scene in the movie, like burning of a little girl, right? And
okay, yeah, I have heard of this movie. I just haven't seen it.
Like it sets. I'm trying to like. I don't want to spoil it because there's a lot of twists and turns that it takes, but
right.
The movie like when all this like goes down, when like this person is like being burned or whatever, it's the person fleeing from it is like the bad girl, Alice. Mm-hmm. So in the movie's called Alice, Sweet Alice. I don't want to talk too much about it because there's a lot of twists and a lot of plot turns that it takes, and by the end you're just like, what the fuck?
That's awesome. I'm looking at the posters for the movie, and I love them. Like, those are some really cool posters.
Look at the mask. The mask that they wear in the movie, the killer wears, is like
super
so
creepy.
Yeah,
it's so freaky. It's so creepy. Yeah. That's awesome. I will definitely have to see that. That's been on my list for a little bit. I just forgot, about it completely. But yeah, oh man, that sounds cool. Oh, I guess it's my turn to mention something that I think about when I think of, because I brought up the question, but I didn't answer it myself. When I think of Halloween, I tend to think of all my favorite horror comedy films, because to me, what I see most fun is it's like, to me, Halloween is a fun holiday, and the whole month is fun to me. So if I watch a movie that's a little too, I would say, super serious or super dense or super emotional, that kind of takes it out of it a bit. So for me, I just love watching horror comedies or really silly films because they just add to the whole funness of the holiday. That's how I feel about it. I love animation. I love art of animation. I love watching animated shows. 90% of the shows I watch on my own without watching with anyone else are all animated shows. So, I'm a self-proclaimed fan of She-Ra and the Princesses of Power. I am a fan of BoJack Horseman, which all my shows ended this year. She-Ra, BoJack Horseman, and Steven Universe. All 3 ended in 2020.
3 were great shows.
Right? They were all really good shows. They were great and emotional and thoughtful, and I love it. I know we're getting off topic a little bit, but I like 80s music personally. I know, but this is kind of the show. The show is where we go.
The show is where we go, Crystal.
Yeah. The show
Perfect.
is where we go. Hey, that could be the opening.
The show is where we go.
I like to write.
And you like to write. There we go, another superpower. It's in your wheelhouse. I like to write too, but my writing is a lot more super serial.
Killer. But I'm reading this book. It's called Ghostland: An American History in Haunted Places, and it's written by Colin Dickey. I don't know anything. I don't know anything about the author. Okay, this book is about like haunted places. Okay, but not like the haunted places and the ghosts that are associated with them. But it's about like the places and how the stories came to be that we hear about those places in like the modern times. It is actually NPR's A Shelf Awareness Best Book of the Year award, whatever that means. I'm sure, is NPR good? Does anybody listen to NPR?
All the time. NPR is amazing.
Legit.
And I love them.
But they said this book was good, so.
Well, then that's a good recommendation then.
I've been reading it. I've read about 3 chapters so far, and it's been really interesting. But I don't think that I've gotten like scratched the surface on it. I'm obsessed with ghosts and ghost stories, and it's just fun to hear like a really cool story about this place, and then like they dig into like the history and like the historical records, and like the ghost story is absolutely false. Like there was nobody that lived at the house at that said time that did that said crime or whatever. You know what I mean? Like.
I have a book recommendation for you. I was gonna bring it up in the chat about a week ago, but everybody was just sort of incoherent that day. So the book that I've got, I think you'd love it. It's called 30 Years Among the Dead. It's by what's his name? It's by Carl Wickling. It's supposedly a true story about a guy who used to hang out with like mediums and spiritualists in the early 20th century, like 100 years ago, and the stuff they ran into and found and heard at seances, and it's really weird, and you get some interesting. This is hard. It's hard to focus when she does that. Anyway, it's really interesting in terms of like metaphysical theory and ghosts. If that's the kind of thing you're into.
I can't not flash people, okay?
It's fine.
I just caught them.
I mean, you mentioned
it's true.
That
seriously, cut the titty talk out. A viewer told me no more beautiful. Titty talk.
Well, it's hard to move on to the next topic.
Yeah, I'm assuming most of that is going to be cut out. So let's talk about some horror things.
All
right, let's go back to
you guys going trick or treating as this year?
There's no trick or treating at all in my city.
Yes, there is. Don't you dare say that. They can't take trick or treating from the kids. I just talked about this.
They did. It means we have to buy we have to buy candy at Walmart like normal people and just hoard it. So we're going to be building bunkers out of candy in my living room, and it's going to be wonderful.
I don't need candy.
Yeah, you do.
Dad.
Everybody needs candy, Aaron.
Yeah, so you can steal it. I know your fucking shtick.
I don't steal. I can afford candy. Candy's cheap.
Your name was like literally Eva steals all your candy. You can't hide your motives from me when your name literally is Eva steals all your candy.
No, it was Eva wants all your candy.
It doesn't. Well, once will mean steal. I know you.
No, once does not mean steal. It means
jerky, like a real adult. I was just chomping. I was on beef jerky, and I broke my tooth.
Oh.
Now it needs to come out. And now I need to get an implant.
I'm sorry.
No, it's okay. It's fine. It needs done. It needed done. Like it was gonna happen. It was a time bomb.
You need to start reading more comics, like me.
Eva, you can be in the guns.
Don't
get cocky, kid.
You could be Luke, firing the guns.
Don't get cocky, kid.
I know not everyone's the biggest. I'm not the biggest Family Guy fan. But did you see any of the Family Guy Star Wars episodes?
Yeah, they have the couch on it. They like take the couch and.
My favorite joke is the play on the "Don't get cocky, kid" was It's like, great shot, kid. Don't get penisy.
I don't need your hokey religions. I'll take my blaster at my side any day. What a man. What a man. Okay? Let's just take a moment and admire how awesome Harrison Ford was when he wasn't awesome. I mean, he's never been awesome. He's always been kind of an asshole, but, you know, at least he was pretending awesome. To be awesome.
He's I don't know, he's awesome. He's cool.
I mean, he gives that, he's not. He's an asshole in real life. Like, he's like the biggest dick. He didn't even want to fucking do Star Wars. He didn't, okay, so he didn't want to do Star Wars, and in Empire Strikes Back, he would like, yo, kill off Han Solo. So that's the only reason that he came back for The Force Awakens, is so they can finally kill the character off. Also, Disney gave him a hell of a lot of money. He was like the highest paid actor in that movie.
Makes sense. But Harrison did provide some of the best moments in the entire series just by his performances alone.
The Clone Wars TV show and the Rebels TV show it's pretty amazing.
They're good shows.
I'm not gonna lie.
They're really good.
I can talk about Star Wars all day.
We could. You know what? I have a friend who loves Star Wars, and maybe one day we'll bring him on, and we'll just geek out about Star Wars for like almost an hour and a half.
I don't know why I'm trying to geek out about Star Wars right now. I'm feeling optimistic about Star Wars at the moment, and that's usually not the case. Usually when people are like, you want to talk about Star Wars? I'm like, nah, fuck you, I hate it.
But now we are on the verge of Mandalorian Season 2 dropping in like 2 weeks.
I haven't even seen the first season.
It's good. Very good.
Not even an episode. Not even an episode.
It's worth it. Trust me. It's worth it.
I know the new Star Wars Rogue Squadron, or Squadron, I think it's called, video game just came out.
Yeah, I heard that's good.
I've heard good things about that too.
Which is good to hear, because I know EA, when they first were releasing their foray into Star Wars, it was not great.
EA is EA.
Yeah. I do like wait, what's the other game that just came out this year? It's like Dark Souls, Star Wars.
Fallen Jedi.
Yes.
Fallen Jedi Order or something.
Fallen Order.
Fallen Order. Yes, I played that one. That one was it scratched the Star Wars itch. My only gripe about it is I don't like playing a like 14-year-old snot-nosed brat.
Is he 14? I thought he was like 18 or 19.
I don't know. He looks like a fucking. I don't like him. He's just.
It's because the actor is young looking.
Cal Kestis.
Yes, the actor actually looks like that, but he's an adult. But he just looks young.
I don't think he's an adult, like in the game. I don't think he's an adult. I think he's young.
They never explain his age. They just.
I don't think they do. I think it's insinuated that he's young, but you could probably be like, yeah, he's a young adult, you know.
It's like 7.
He just looks like that snot-nosed brat that you just want to push over at the playground.
Wow, you were the bully then.
No, I wasn't. That's the thing.
No, Horror Revelations.
The bully. I don't like him as a character.
Halloween Revelations. Aaron speaking some truth about being a bully, wanting to push over snot-nosed kids.
Cal Kestis, I would push him over. Like, I wish they gave me like an option, like maybe like a female alternative. Like,
yeah, earlier on the podcast you talked about stealing candy from children because you know, and then now you're talking about pushing children over. I mean, come on, what's your issue?
Cal Kestis, I push him over. Like, fuck him. He's a little. I hate. Is the worst. The worst thing about that game was the protagonist. Everything else was great, but every time the protagonist opened up his mouth, I just wanted to smack him.
Wow, that's mean.
It's not mean, it's just... I didn't like the protagonist. Like, I don't know, I couldn't relate with him.
Using you.
Couldn't relate with him at all.
You couldn't relate with him while he was dealing with Order 66?
Sorry, I was not a Jedi during Order 66. I have no idea what's going on. I was out in the Outer Rim mining asteroids, okay?
Okay, fair enough.
I don't know anything about no Palpatine. Okay? I've been here for 20 years mining on this rock.
Yeah, you're mining on a rock. That's fair.
Anything about no Palpatine or no Raiders or Sith Lords or Jedis? I don't know anything about that.
I just got like this great vision of there's a scene in Monty Python and the Holy Grail, and I just thought about what if that was in the Star Wars universe right now. That's basically what you're talking about. Because there's a scene where King Arthur comes up to these villagers, and they don't really care that he's the king. They're just kind of like, whatever, you know? And basically that's your reaction to if Palpatine was around. It was like, oh, whatever.
Probably die.
I mean, sure, but
like,
I mean,
if you snubbed Palpatine, like, you're gonna die. Like, there's no question about it. You can't just snub like the darkest Sith Lord of like the galaxy. You can't snub him.
Well, he is.
Do it.
Do it.
Do it. You got day old beef. Just do it.
Pulling out the Game Grumps reference.
I forget what that was from.
It was Game Grumps.
Was it?
Yeah, they were making jokes together about the scene and the way he says "do it."
Yeah, I remember seeing the anime. He's like, do it. It just makes it so creepier than it needs to be.
Well, they were really funny with that. It's like, what if Palpatine was trying to go on a date with somebody? Do it.
Day old meat, do it.
Oh man, that's some quality internet content right there, and we're making quality internet.
That's some deep cut right there.
Deep cut shit.
That's some deep cut right there. That makes me kind of happy. That's going back. I don't know. It just pops into my mind when we start talking about Star Wars. I get all these deep cuts, you know.
Oh yeah.
It's the same with World of Warcraft.
I want to bring. Oh, with the what do you mean, like the game itself, or like the jokes around it?
Just like all the content in the game. Like it takes me back to another like time, you know.
We all have those memories and those moments that just pop up where it's just kind of like, you know, it's exciting. You remember something from your childhood and you just kind of want to relive it or re-feel it and stuff. Nostalgia is such a great tool, which is why Hollywood likes to weaponize it so much.
It's a lie, though. It's a lie. Nostalgia is a lie. It doesn't exist.
But let me be happy in my
you
fabricated
can't get those
world
moments back. You're an adult. Grow up. That's what they always tell me.
Well, that's not fair. You're allowed to be happy.
I want to feel magical again. That's how I explain it. I want that magical feeling back, please.
I mean, magic is still there. Magic is still there. It's just
I haven't felt that way about anything in a really long time, to be honest.
Well, part of life, I suppose. I don't want to get into something super deeper.
Super deep? No, but like sometimes, okay, guys, sometimes life throws you, you know, curveballs and it just smacks you right in the face and you're down on the ground with a broken nose bleeding out while the umpire's like, man it up! Or like, be a man in your face and, you know, you're just coughing up blood and snot and, you know, that's life. That's life. You know,
well,
you're just hanging out at home, someone breaks in, starts beating the shit out of you and pistol whipping you with a gun, you know, breaks your head open. That's just life, you know. That's just every day. Like,
you're reminding me of the classic song. You know, that's life. That's what the people say. Riding high in April and shot down in.
Yeah.
So, I mean,
today was a good day. I didn't have to use my AK.
You know, I have been listening to something that has lifted my spirits up. I have heard of this famous erotica author named Dr. Chuck Tingle. Now, his work is some of the most...
you say?
Yes, you know Chuck Tingle? Are you familiar?
I feel like I would know if I was.
Okay.
That's a hell of a name.
He has created some of the most interesting and best erotic fiction as of recent, And it is the most, I don't want to dismiss it, but it's intentionally satirical and it's fucking hilarious. But I wanted to bring up this fact because I started listening to the podcast that he is on. Now, his podcast that he has is one of the most wholesome shows I have probably ever heard on a podcast, and every episode fills me with some sort of joy. And it's just filled with utter positivity. And I wanted to bring back a saying that he keeps on repeating is that the most important thing in life is to share and to show that love is real, and that is the most powerful, most beautiful thing. So I know we're in the Halloween episode, but I just wanted to share a little bit of positivity and repeat his saying because love is real, and be kind to everyone. So
always, always choose to be kind. Never choose hate. Always choose love. Love always wins.
It doesn't. And I just wanted to, I don't know.
Even though sometimes it feels wrong, you don't want to let your guard down. You want to be all big and strong and tough. I know all about it. I think I'm the think I'm the biggest, strongest, toughest person ever. And like people have to remind me, like, hey, you're a little girl. You're not that intimidating. I'm just like, oh.
Well, I don't necessarily think that being intimidating is necessarily a positive trait. I believe that it can be detrimental if you just. I mean, it just depends, I suppose. But I just want, I think what each of us individually brings is something powerful. Regardless of what people assume. So I know we're talking about Halloween, but I also wanted to take a moment to just kind of bring some life advice into this because I genuinely love everyone that listens to this show, and I love being around the people on the podcast. I think this is very special. So
I like that talked with my friends. Like I was stressing out. Like I was sitting down earlier, and I was like, "Oh God, I got to get on with them. I got to get on with them in like an hour." And I was like, "Oh my God," I was just like procrastinating because whenever I know I have to do something, like it's like this. I just get anxiety. It doesn't matter what it is. I just get anxiety. I'm like, why am I stressing out? I'm just hanging out with my friends, talking to my friends, and I'm stressing out about it, and it's just
no stress. We are in the middle of the spookiest time of year, and to me, everyone gets joyful and joyous during Christmas time. To me, it's Halloween time. I love Halloween, and to me, it's a time where I try and celebrate as much joy through the spookiness, the spooky things.
I want to carve me up a jack-o'-lantern, sit down and smoke me a joint, and watch me a horror movie. Always good. Yes. Guys, I talk like I'm an idiot all the time because, like, I like to be satirical. I like to like have a little, a character, a little humor and things. I mean, I'm a very educated and intellectual person, but sometimes, you gotta let your vocabulary and your vernacular, down a little bit and just, have fun, take the monkey off your back.
Yeah, and I may talk stupid, and no, that's actually not an act. That's just how it is.
People
awesome.
I'm sorry. I'm just being down. But I get what you mean, and you're very smart.
I think you're beautiful and you're awesome. You're both great.
Oh, well, thank you. Thank you, Eva.
The world is in a really bad state right now, and I just wish people could get help when they need help, especially if it's something that they actually need, like dental work and like health stuff, like medicine. Like I know people struggle getting there was a case around here where people struggling getting their insulin, diabetic people. Like during like the first days of the pandemic and stuff, it was like a really big problem. Like people couldn't get insulin, people were dying and stuff.
Yeah,
it's just there's just so many problems in this world that don't really have to be problems. Like we have solutions for these problems, and they're straightforward solutions, right? Like we know what the solutions are. How do we solve our homeless problems? We need to give the homeless homes. We have enough homes in the country to house all the homeless people tenfold. You know, we have so many empty homes just sitting there. We have the answer to the problem, but we don't want to solve it. Nobody wants to. It's not profitable. If it's not profitable, it's not going to be an answer to the problem in this country. Like, we could solve all of our low income. We could solve all of our housing problems. We could solve all of our medical issues. We could solve all of our education issues. But the right way to do it isn't profitable, so they're not going to do it.
Right. I think
it's just so frustrating. It's just so goddamn frustrating. I was watching yesterday. The Nancy Pelosi like denied. She was talking to Wolf Blitzer, and he was like, "Are you gonna grant like another stimulus check?" And she's like, "Well, why don't you ask your president?" You know. And I'm just like, "Oh my god, are you serious? The people running this country are fucking children. They can't put anything aside to get anything done." I know that Trump is our president and his administration is bad, but we still kind of need to work, like the people in the government need to work with his administration to get things done. You know, you need to go through it. Like, it's still the government and still need done. You know what I mean? And nothing is getting done.
It's not the Democrats' fault there. It's not the Democrats that are doing that, though. It's the Republicans that are stonewalling. And what they want is ridiculous tax cuts.
I honestly can't tell the difference between the parties anymore. The Democrats look more Republican than ever.
Yeah, they do.
It's
granted, the Republicans look more fascist than ever. The Democrats look like Republicans, but the Republicans look like Nazis.
No matter what the Democrats do, it's not going to be left enough. It's not going to be left enough.
It's never going to be left enough. Not unless we put in, solid leftists, and we're not doing that.
I think
they're never going to do that. They'll never take the turns towards, socialism is bad. You know what I mean? Like, they're never going to do it. They're never going to fix the problems at least until the older generations are done. Like, this country's being ran by a bunch of old, white children.
Yeah.
I'm going to just say, like, a general statement more so than a specific one, but I know it's easy for everyone to, and I obviously get this too. If you follow me on Twitter, you'll see my thoughts, but I think it's easy to fall into the feeling that nothing is ever going to get done and nothing will change. But I think the power to change is within us. I think we can do it.
It's our generation.
Yes, and I think we will take the steps.
Once that older generation is gone and their resistance is gone, I think things will be fine. Because we're not dumb. We know what the solutions to these problems are. Like, we're sick of the systems. Like, we're done with it. Like,
sure.
I don't want these systems for the future. Like, I don't want to die knowing that there's going to be another 300-400 years of this. You know what I mean?
Yeah. That's understandable.
I think people will march on Washington and burn everything before too long.
I want the British to do it again. That'd be funny.
Because the British have their own problems.
Yeah, they're just as fascist.
Yeah,
in
I
a
know.
lot of ways.
Like, it's
they elected Boris freaking Johnson, who's a joke, literally a joke candidate, and he's their prime minister right now.
Yeah. Okay. So I don't post a lot about politics. I stay out of it on Twitter. I don't get involved with politics on Twitter. I don't talk about politics with you guys that much. I'm not very political. Like, I know what's going on, and I know what's right, and I know what's wrong. But I don't really like talking about it too. I don't like putting it out there. Like, I will every once in a while, but I don't like constantly putting it out there in the ether. Because if I'm constantly political, I find myself getting sad and depressed, you know? It's something that I will engage in very rarely.
Yeah, that's understandable. We all need a break from.
I'm also tired of getting these fucking text messages of people asking me to vote. It's like, I already did. I sent my ballot. Leave me alone.
I get like emails every day. It's annoying. It's really annoying. But I think we're all feeling
check their email anymore.
I do. What? Email is everything.
I don't. The email's over.
I mean, I need it. But
you need your email to register on every website.
I think
but whoever reads it.
I get emails from my doctors. I get emails from my dentist. I get emails from my therapist. I get emails from my mother sometimes. I get email from Crystal once.
Wow.
So, you sent me a script and I never read it. Like it got lost in the email, and I just found it today. I was like, oh shit.
You should have read that one. It was good.
Oh, thank you, Eva.
I'm gonna get to it. I lost it in my email.
That's right. I sent it because I wrote it a couple years ago, and it's a superhero story I created, but I don't want to talk too much about the fictional stuff that I created. I do think it's hilarious that we're heading towards the end of this show, and the ending is in our Halloween podcast. It's talking about the scariest topic of all, politics.
Absolutely. It's absolutely terrifying out there.
It's scary, but I think what's more fun is that we should probably switch back into talking about some sort of final thoughts and ideas and stuff about, I guess, the Halloween season, anything that we wanted to bring up, any comics you wanted to bring up, and maybe I don't know, I think maybe this might be a good enough place for us to say some final thoughts about Halloween and wish our listeners the spookiest of times.
Sounds good to me.
Okay. Eva, do you wanna share some Halloween things that you love, or that just fill you with the spooky joy?
Pumpkin spice.
Pumpkin spice.
Pumpkin spice everything. That is my favorite thing about Halloween. I love it.
So you're turning into a typical white girl.
Welcome to the club.
Yeah, but I'm not white.
I know. I'm just saying that's just one of the fun.
I mean, maybe I could pass for white right now because I've been in the house for so long, but normally, it's not going to happen.
Aaron, is there anything that you love or specifically want to bring up about Halloween?
About the season?
Yeah, anything you love.
I like apple cider.
Nice.
You start seeing apple cider around this time of year, and I really like apple cider. So there's like this gas station chain near my house, or in the city. It's called Royal Farms, and they have like this apple cider tea. And there's one like right next to my LCS, so like I stop in there and get some of my apple cider every time I go to the LCS.
Nice.
I don't know, it's limited time. Like it'll be gone at the end of November.
That's cool. That's super cool. Always having the good. Both of you brought up the good beverages, that you enjoy, or food or whatever that brings you some joy. I think for me, what I love about the Halloween season is just the appreciation of the visual aesthetic, and I love seeing people who decorate their homes. Less so this year, but I just love the theming and the aesthetic and the just appreciation of all the fun spooky things. Seeing the jack-o'-lanterns, seeing the spooky ghosts that we see sometimes when we're lying alone in bed and they visit you at the end of your bed.
What? That never happened.
That never happened to you?
No.
I thought everyone experiences a spooky ghost who comes into.
I've never had a paranormal experience in my life. I've investigated a lot of paranormal places. I've been to a lot of paranormal places. I've read a lot of paranormal stories, but I've personally never had an experience. That's why I'm pretty skeptical. But if it is real, I don't want to have an experience.
You mean you never had a visitor come to your room and ask for your skin because they want to wear your skin?
No.
Oh,
really?
I thought that was something everyone had.
Not even a polite werewolf?
Hey, we're werewolves, not swearwolves.
We're werewolves, mate, not swearwolves.
Sorry, I had to throw in a What We Do in the Shadows reference there, because that's an hysterical movie.
Yeah, it's a good movie.
That's a fun Halloween movie. Watch What We Do in the Shadows. Either the movie or the TV show, or just do both. They're both great.
I haven't seen the show yet, but the movie is awesome.
The show was also awesome.
Taika Waititi is my favorite.
Oh, he's so
I have a thing for New Zealanders and Australians.
It's the accent.
Yeah, I've dated. My last boyfriend was actually Australian. It was definitely the accent. It definitely wasn't the body.
All right, mate.
Hold on, guys.
It seems like she stepped out of her cockpit again.
Yeah, definitely did. Sounds like she's being visited by a spooky ghost friend.
I think she's bringing the demon cat, actually.
Oh, nice. The demonic
From
feline.
the look of it. Yeah.
Well, he is officially a member of the Gals of Geekdom podcast.
That is true. We made him his own hero card. Yeah. There he is, Mr. Bugman.
Mr. Bugman. See, everybody knows you, bud. Everybody knows you. I found this cat on my porch one day.
He chose you.
I love him. He's my buddy. Say hi, Mr. Bugman. Do you see everybody? Look. You don't care, do you? He's purring.
Hello, Mr. Bugman.
Don't steal my beef jerky. I'll get mad.
All right. Well, we had an appearance from Mr. Bugman, and we've had an awesomely, weirdly well-rounded show today, right?
And a lot of it's going to be cut out.
Sure. Only a few minutes. It's still going to be really good.
You guys don't get the juicy parts.
No. So, all right. I wanted to, I think it's time for us to wrap up the show for our normal round of stuff. So, is there anything that you two want to promote?
I got nothing today.
Today?
I got nothing today either. Just have a happy Halloween, guys.
Have a happy Halloween.
Yeah,
Follow
totally.
us on Twitter for more spooky fun. If you don't mind, Eva, I will wrap up the show by saying thank you for tuning in to issue number 6 of the Gals of Geekdom podcast. Thank you very much to all our lovely listeners, the boys, the ghouls, and those who don't quite have a spirit that follows either of those. So we will all see you next time on the Gals of Geekdom. Happy Halloween, everybody.
And that's our show. Thanks for sticking around. Gals of Geekdom is a podcast for high-quality nerds everywhere, produced by me, the cute, adorable, and super wholesome Eva Webb. If you're somewhere you can leave comments, tell us, what is your spooky secret? Join us next time as we nerd out with someone new. See you then.